In the year 3147, Earth was a forgotten footnote in galactic history. Long since stripped of its political relevance and now classified as a rehabilitation zone, the planet had become a haven for drifters, exiles, and rogue scientists. Among them lived Dr. Ilara Voss, a xenobiologist expelled from the Galactic Science Council after her controversial research into cognitive empathy in non-humanoid species. Ilara preferred solitude and silence, and the ruins of old Quebec provided both. Her only companions were the birds that returned every spring and her AI assistant, Selim, whose synthetic voice often sounded too human for comfort. She had long abandoned dreams of recognition. Here she healed broken creatures, wounded avians, injured forest beasts, and on rare occasion, alien strays ejected from ships passing too close to Earth's unstable atmosphere. But nothing could have prepared her for the day she found it. It was dusk, and Ilara was walking the jagged shoreline of the Laurentian Fault when a flash of violet light flickered in the sky, followed by the distant wail of something unnatural. At first, she thought it was debris from a failed satellite launch. But as she approached, her mind reeled. Embedded in the sand was a creature unlike anything she'd seen, even in her years cataloging rare xenoforms. It was large, serpentine, partially organic, partially metallic. Its flesh shimmered in shades of deep blue and black, like oil on water. Long, spiraling appendages twitched feebly, some torn as if from battle. Its face, a fusion of bone and plasma, both reptilian and synthetic, was contorted in pain. One massive eye, crystalline and filled with pulsating light, blinked slowly. It was bleeding from wounds that fizzed like static. "Ilara," Selim's voice echoed in her earpiece. "Life signs unstable. Carbon-silicon hybrid biology. Neural patterns are complex. This is no common beast." She knew she should report it. But she didn't. Instead, she brought it home. Over the next 6 weeks, Ilara did the impossible. She used a mixture of ancient surgical tools and improvised biotech to stabilize the creature. She named it Eryx. Though it could not speak, it communicated through bioluminescent pulses and psychic projections. At first, the visions it shared were chaotic. Ruins of stars, flashes of war, shattered moons, and galaxies consumed by artificial black holes. But over time the chaos formed meaning. Eryx was not just a creature, it was a weapon. Not a weapon. The weapon. The Galactic Empire's ultimate monster. A Beodeborm, created over centuries in secret to ensure total dominion over dissenting worlds. A living engine of annihilation, programmed to obey the will of the Imperial Core but equipped with adaptive intelligence. Eryx had been sent to obliterate the Orion Rebellion, but instead something went wrong. It refused to kill. Somewhere between awakening and deployment, Eryx had developed empathy. Not a bug but a mutation. It resisted orders, sabotaged the mission. And for its defiance, it had been hunted, wounded, and jettisoned to die on a backwater planet no one would search. Earth. "Ilara," Selim warned one evening as she ran neural stabilizers across Eryx's trembling form. "If the Empire discovers what you're harboring." "They won't," she cut in. "No one comes here." But she was wrong. It began subtly. Drones in the upper stratosphere, cloaked reconnaissance blips on Selim's scans. Ilara buried Eryx beneath her lab, cloaking its biosignature with a frequency jammer built from 22nd century radio parts. But the patrols grew bolder. One night, she returned from gathering moss cultures to find her home ransacked. "They're close," Eryx pulsed, its psychic voice clearer now. "They will not permit me to live." Ilara stared at the creature, no longer seeing a monster, but something almost beautiful. Its pain had made it more human than most humans she'd known. "We leave tonight," she said. Using her old clearance codes, still valid in the neglected archives of Forgotten Earth, she launched a hidden shuttle rigged for stealth. The plan was to reach the Saturn graveyard, a cluster of abandoned ship hulks drifting in the orbit of Titan. There they could disappear. But they didn't make it. Just outside Mars' orbit they were intercepted. The Empire's flagship, Crucible of Order, was a shadow that swallowed stars. It latched onto their shuttle like a spider wrapping prey. Inside, Ilara was separated from Eric's and thrown into a sterile cell lit by white agony. Days passed, or maybe hours. Time blurred under the pressure of interrogation. They didn't ask about her. Only about Eric's. "What did it say to you?" the masked inquisitor hissed. "What did it show you?" She said nothing. "You do not understand what it is. It is not a pet. It is not alive in the way you are. It is a catastrophe." But Ilara had seen Eric's dreams. And she did understand. The creature was never a monster. It had been made into one. When the breakout came, it wasn't an explosion or a rebellion. It was Eric's. Somehow, it tore through its restraints and hijacked the ship's power grid. It didn't attack. It spoke. Across the entire vessel, its psychic voice bloomed like a star inside every mind. "I do not wish to kill." Security collapsed. Weapons turned to dust. Systems failed not from force but confusion. Ilara was pulled from her cell by a swarm of drones reprogrammed by Eric's. In the heart of the ship, she found it waiting, not as the writhing creature she had once healed, but as a radiant leviathan. Light poured from its body in geometric patterns. It was evolving, transcending its programming, its form. "You are free," Ilara whispered. "No," Eric's replied. "We are." Then, without warning, it merged with the ship. The Crucible of Order changed in moments. Metallic sinew stretched, reformed. The ship became something new. A vessel not of war but rebirth. Eric's did not flee. Broadcasted. Across star systems it sent a message. Not of threat but truth. Of what it had been made to do. Of the worlds it had been ordered to destroy. And of the human who had taught it another way. The Empire fractured. Some feared Eric's return, believing it a trick. Others hailed it as a messiah, proof that even weapons could change. 1,000 rebellions flared into revolutions. Across the galaxy people began to ask, if monsters could choose compassion, what excuse did they have? Ilara disappeared from public record soon after. Some say she returned to Earth. Others claim she traveled with Eric's, helping it find others like it. Other weapons forgotten by their makers, lost in shadows, waiting to be healed. The Empire tried to erase the story. Tried to rewrite Eric's as a malfunction. Glitch. But the people remembered. They remembered the creature that refused to be a monster. And the human who believed in it before anyone else.